I was extremely weak and tight in the front of the hip, the back of the hip, the inner hip, the outer hip, the lower spine, the middle of the spine, and my lower abs were extremely weak compared to my upper abs. Man, they still need some work. My back pain completely went away as I strengthened all of these areas through my flexibility, and here is exactly how you can do it too. Strengthen the front of the hip with the hip flexor raise, starting with a range of motion that feels good, working towards getting your knee above your hip for 20 reps, and then add some load by strapping it to your foot. Then increase the strength and flexibility of the hip flexors using the ATG Split Squat, starting by elevating the front foot and using assistance to get comfortable in this bottom position, to lowering the elevation of the front foot until you can easily do it on the floor, getting your front hamstring to cover the calf without the back knee touching the floor. And if you'd like to, you can add weight. And I like to do 10 reps on each side. Attacking the front of the hip is a great entry point because the hip flexor muscles connect directly to the lower spine. And you can strengthen these muscles and increase your flexibility without necessarily having to move your spine and put it into the more vulnerable positions to start. Tightness in this area can pull on the spine, causing a little bit more stress throughout your day, and weakness can cause some instability in that lower spine area. Often, addressing this area first can provide some much needed relief so that you can continue through these next exercises and get the best results. Next, lay a foundation of lower back strength and protection using the back extension, starting by holding this top position, keeping the body in a straight line, using assistance, and working towards unassisted for 2 minutes. Then progress to one leg at a time, starting with assistance and working towards 1 minute unassisted. Once those two become easy, then you can start experimenting with movement forward until you reach a full range of motion. Work towards 30 reps with 2 legs, and also work on increasing your range of motion with 1 leg at a time until you can reach 20 reps on each side without assistance. And increase your strength and flexibility in the backside using the elephant walk. And what's amazing about this is you can use some form of elevation in front of you to take some load off of your spine so you can get into this rounded position safely and start to stretch and strengthen the back of the hip, straightening 1 leg at a time. Progress lower without working through any pain until you can get palms to the floor, and progress your ability to round using the Jefferson curl, and add a little bit of weight to help you get deeper with the intention to stretch in between each vertebrae and strengthen on the way up using a weight that feels good. Use these exercises to teach the lower back that it's safe to fire and it's safe to round. Because if you've dealt with back pain for a decent amount of time, when these muscles fire, it's often accompanied by pain. So build trust with those muscles using these exercises. Progress slowly and allow these exercises to work their magic. For the inner hip, use the butterfly, starting by using the weight of your legs, stretching and strengthening by lifting your knees up. Progress by using some resistance by pressing down with your hands, or you can add dumbbells to the inside of your knees. And for additional strength, use the Copenhagen. Start by supporting your leg as much as you need to, and you can use the bottom leg for assistance. Progress to unassisted and lowering where the bench is placed on your leg until you reach your ankle. I've found that the Copenhagen is extremely helpful for adding an extra layer of protection on those inner thigh and inner groin muscles, as well as the inside of the knee. For the outer hip muscles, wake them up and start strengthening them, starting in this 90-90 position and doing the outer hip burnout. which includes 3 moves for 30 seconds with no rest in between. Start by lifting up your heel, driving your heel to the ceiling, holding for 30 seconds. Then lift your knee as well. Again, driving your heel to the ceiling for 30 seconds. Then lean to the side and straighten your leg. Again, driving your heel to the ceiling for the whole 30 seconds. Then build your strength through your flexibility from the same position using the Piriformis Push Up. Hands on either side of the knee, lower the chest towards the knee, and then use those stretched muscles on the outside of the hip to push yourself up by driving your knee into the ground. Stretch, strength. You can take one hand away to make it a little bit tougher. And once you have the strength, you can do the bench pigeon, starting with assistance, getting comfortable in this bottom position, thinking to drive your knee into the bench the entire time, working towards holding the weight of your body. This builds additional strength through that stretched position in those outer hip muscles, and you can increase the intensity by leaning forward and then pushing your body back up using those muscles. You can also start assisted if you'd like. The lower spine needs 2 things. The first is the ability to round, and you can use the back extension and the Jefferson curl to achieve that goal. The second ability the spine needs is the ability to resist rounding. And we can do that with the seated good morning, starting with body weight and a little bit of range of motion. You can make it tougher by bringing the hands on top of the head or by adding dumbbells. You can also face the incline of a bench to stop you short. And if you decide to load with a barbell, I highly recommend this because it matches your flexibility, stops you short, and prevents you from going too far and allowing that low back to round. And as your flexibility improves, you can lower the incline of the bench. The longer you sit, the more the upper spine tends to round, which leaves the middle of the spine really weak and hard to access. So you can start with a light dumbbell or your hands using the bench as support. And you can progress by moving the bench crosswise and increasing the weight. Now that we've opened up the upper spine, strengthen the muscles that hold your posture using the trap 3 raise. And the goal is to feel those lower traps in the middle of the spine working. This can be a very sensitive area for a lot of people. It was for me. So start with the weight of your arms. Get comfortable in that top position. Control all the way down. Just feel those lower traps in the middle of the back start to work a little bit before adding weight with dumbbells. Now last, but certainly not least, the abs are a very misunderstood area, and common exercises like planks, sit-ups, Russian twists strengthen the upper abs much more than the lower abs, leaving the lower spine unprotected on the front side. So strengthen the entire core from the bottom up using the Garhammer raise, the L-sit, and if you have access to a cable machine, use the reverse squat. For the L-sit, you can start by lifting one leg at a time. Then progress by lifting your butt off of the ground and then lifting one leg at a time. Okay, until you can lift your butt off of the ground as well as your feet. And this is pretty tough to do. The most important thing with these exercises is that you are patient with the areas that you're the weakest and you're the tightest, and that you do not work through any pain. Any new range of motion that you gain is all weak range of motion. So using these exercises, make sure that you can spend time in those weak and tight areas. This is going to allow you to strengthen those areas and increase your range of motion and strength the fastest. Thank you for watching. I hope that you use these exercises to get yourself out of back pain, because honestly, these exercises saved me from years and years and years of chronic low back pain and sciatica and all of the emotions and limitations that come with that. So stay tuned for more back pain solutions. And if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. I'd be happy to hear from you, and thank you for your attention today, and take care.